And welcome everyone. We are live on YouTube. This is Terribly Live, and we have an awesome guest panel today. We are going to be hanging out with my friend Drake KO4, my co-host, and Eric from Pharmix, and also my friend Josh from Dragonfly Earth Medicine. Kelly is not feeling a little well today, so she's a little under the weather. So we're going to wish her some well, and we're going to do some morning dabs and send some good vibes her way. And how are you, family? Josh, what are you puffing on today?
Well, right now I got this punch breath and got the clone from Brandon and Amanda from Kush Kirk yesterday. It was last spring, and brought it up and grew it. So we grew a few clones last year. Oh, hi, Beeb. This is my dog. He's beautiful. He's old. We grew a few clones this year actually, but now last because we're done growing. Punch Breath, Tangelope, Jack Herrera, Strawberry Guava. I think that's it. No, it's the sourdough biscuit. The sourdough biscuit and the Hindu Kush. The Hindu Kush from Southern Oregon, the Graceland cut, which is, am I saying that right? I think it's, yeah, Graceland, I believe it is.
Out of those, which profiles were most up your alley?
Everybody, we need to remember to keep our mics muted if we're not talking also, because that'll also keep the Wi-Fi shorter for them to be able to hear. Because that Canadian internet up there in the bush. Go ahead, Josh.
I missed the question, Drake. Did you ask a question?
So it was just out of those ones that you had mentioned there that you had just recently grown out, which profiles were most up your alley?
Oh, well, I'm the worst about that because I just love weed, and I celebrate every flavor. So I feel really bad saying, oh, this is my favorite one and that's my favorite one and stuff. So I can tell you what I like about each one. That's what I can do. The strawberry guava obviously makes really beautiful hash. You've seen it from Kush Kirk a million times. It's not subtle, like it doesn't have terps. It's just a subtle terpene, which I like a lot. And it does have that guava flavor to it, that nice sweet flavor. And I took a big pipe hit off the strawberry guava, and it like laid sugar on my tongue. It felt sweet, as if I had just eaten like a cookie or something, The Hindu Kush is, if you don't know, it was one of the most classic strains of Southern Oregon. I mean, it's not classic like it wasn't in the 90s. It wasn't there, but the 2000s to the teens, it really took off. And that's where you hear about the Jaeger. Have you heard about there's the Jaeger, there's the Hindu Kush, there's the Graceland cut, there's different cuts of it and stuff. And it's got a beautiful color to it. It's reddish, dark red, dark maroon. There's good color to it. It's shorter a little bit. And it has in my opinion, and I'm not necessarily the best at describing flavors, but it has like a rich anise kind of flavor to it, I feel. And this punch breath has incredible terpenes to it, very like punchy, as if you were like drinking some old Kool-Aid or some kind of like punch, like it really does. It has like that old like kind of flavor in there, and it's super crystally, and there's kind of smaller hard nugs. It's hard to tell. I don't have the best representation here, but very, very crystally.
Look beautiful
outdoors, and the sourdough biscuit was one from Eugene again, and it was from an awesome friend there, the Tangelope as well, and the Jack Herrera. But the sourdough biscuit has this like doughy molasses kind of flavor to it. We haven't made hash out of any of them yet, so I don't know how it makes hash. yet, but the sourdough biscuit has a really awesome flavor, very deep flavor, low note. I sometimes like to describe flavors by notes. Does that make sense?
No,
You know,
it's
you
such
smell,
a
it's like,
such
I
unique
feel like
profile.
we should have an organ next to us when we smell a weed. When we smell ganja, we should like just push a note on the organ and be like, darn, this is the one that I, you know.
Yeah, that's
chose.
an earth note right there for sure.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden we're playing chords and I don't know, but it's a lot of fun.
The symphony of the terpenes. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, there's definitely aromatics that I describe as heavier or lighter or sharper or softer. So I could definitely, I mean, I personally don't hear sounds when I smell, but I could definitely, I could attribute, if I wanted to, a sound to a certain smell.
The deeper would be, the heavier would be, the earthy would be, the gassy, and we get those beautiful, that light, those citrus, those floral pumps. Oh yeah, I could see us coming up with a beautiful song.
That'd be really fun. That'd be really fun. You know what? Gosh, I remember. Damn, I can't. I had a cool thought of someone that was playing. Shit, there's a guy online that like plays music for mushrooms or from mushrooms. He like hears the song from the mushrooms and then plays it out on the piano. I can't remember what it is, so I maybe someone will find it maybe, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet.
I've seen it with cannabis as well, and I think it's called Plant Harmonics, if I recall. I'm not positive on the site, but yeah, and this was specifically a lovely lady who was hooking up the plants to some sort of electromagnetic, you know, something that could generate, that could sense their changes, and it would play a tune based on the plants and just the vibrations and energies it was sending off. It was so beautiful.
Really makes sense. Really makes sense. Have you seen the movie The Secret Life of Plants from the 70s? It's really awesome. It definitely watch it. It's called The Secret Life of Plants. And Stevie Wonder did a lot of the soundtrack to it, you know, in the 70s. And it's a whole movie on doing experiments with plants, you know, like they hook up all kinds of geodes, or not geodes, but just things that are like electronic sensors onto plants, and they do all kinds of stuff, you know, sound healing and all these different things with plants, and it's super awesome. And there's also that movie Earthing, you know, and we've talked about this before, and the grounding, what's it called, the movie on Earthing, I think is what it's called. Have you seen that?
So no, but I've also heard of that one as well, and I believe that's what it is.
Way cool.
It's significant because a guy up in Alaska has like all these body ailments. And then he just starts realizing, oh shit, I need to go. It's snowy as out everywhere because he's in Alaska. He lives in a cabin. He's like, oh, I'm going to go lay on the earth underneath my cabin, like go under the floor of his cabin where there's no snow, right? It's cold as fuck. And he goes out and he lays on the earth bare naked for like 20 minutes and just soaks into the earth, like lets the earth heal him. And he does it like every single day. And then all of a sudden he's like, dude, I'm like cured. And then all of a sudden he's just like, oh, I'm going to help this person. Oh, I'm going to help that person. And the whole movie is just him helping everyone. And then it's just this thing of like, whoa, when you touch the earth, it heals you. And then you go, oh shit. And then you start talking. And so then it builds and you start thinking, you go into life and you've watched the movie, you think about it. And then I was talking to Wade Laughter, you know who he is, from House of Harlequin. He created the Harlequin. I've said this story before, but just in case someone hasn't heard it, he grounded his plants, right? By taking a copper wire and putting it into his to his dirt and putting it into like the outlet of his house, right? Your whole house is grounded to the earth. So you can get a copper wire, put it in your pot, take that copper wire out and put it in the ground part of your outlet. And that grounds your plants to the earth. It connects your dirt or soil to earth frequency, like Schumer's resonant field. And when you connect into Schumer's resonant field, everything is possible. And then the plant has not only soil to create magic from. It has resonant waves from the earth that is connecting to. There's an experiment done in the movie Earthing where they take a cut flower and they put it in water on the windowsill, and they take one glass of water and they just put a rose in the water. And maybe it's not a rose, I forget. But then they take another cup, they put a rose in the water, and they take a copper wire, and they take the copper wire, put it out the window, and put it into the dirt outside of the window. It lasts like 2 weeks longer with zero, it doesn't die. It stays alive.
Wow.
So all these people growing indoors, why would you not take a sledgehammer to your concrete and bust the concrete out and attach your beds to the earth? Why would you not do that? Of course you would do that. Why do you have pots on tables where you're like collecting the water afterwards so you can just connect the roots to the earth? You can do it inside. It's totally fine. I have a friend in Eugene he did it down in Cottage Grove, made his own purpose-built grow room and created a concrete floor, but did a flower of life copper sacred geometry design in the concrete, right? And then made like crystals at the different like ley line and power spots in the grid on there, and then connected the best of the earth. It's so fucking sweet. And then so the beds, the roots are going around, they're wrapping around copper, then they're wrapping around rocks, and then they're sucking out of the earth, but they're still indoors. They still have like LED and regular lights. It's pretty sweet. I think it's valuable. I mean, if you're going to be indoors.
So whatever happened with
plants,
the crystal? Whatever happened to the crystal that you planted underneath your plants? Didn't you guys do that? Crap, did we lose him?
He'll be back right away if so. And I'm super interested.
So we didn't have okay. Let me know when you come back. Let me know when I'm back. Okay. Wow, our internet is fun. I'm really sorry. So our crystal didn't work very well this year because we didn't plant it proper. And I think that we just got busy in life and and we kind of fucked up our own experiment. Let's be real. Like, I'm being honest. We didn't do so good. Brandon and Amanda did awesome. Heart Rock there. We put up all the ones that people sent us. It was sweet. But I feel like if you're going to plant a seed, like you're talking about, Tara, in a pot, let's say, for example, because what else are you going to start it in? Probably should put a crystal in that pot, the very first time. And maybe, I would put the crystal in my mouth, probably, and then I will first wash it, in the sink, then put it in your mouth, get your saliva and all your DNA wrapping around the crystal, then put it in the pot, put the seed in your mouth, get your saliva all around the seed, because we already know about the seed and all of the bacteria and all of the endophytic fungi and all the things that was from the previous soil is locked in the seed, which I think is super awesome. Every time you get a seed from someone, their soil is in your seed, and you're swapping organisms. Real organisms come alive and they go. So when those organisms come alive, they should touch your saliva first, because they're making medicine for you. They haven't made the medicine yet. They're sentient beings. They create the medicine as they grow. So the very first root that comes out is called the radical root. It's beautiful. It's the radical root. It comes out, and there's the hairs that come out, the fine fungal filament hairs. They come and they excrete, superoxide onto whatever's there, and they immediately take and they analyze what's available to them. So that very first root that comes out could taste your saliva, which has your DNA in it, and it would taste your soil that you're going to grow it in, because you wouldn't buy soil from the store, right? To start your seed. That makes 0 sense. No sense at all. You would take soil that you're going to grow it in from your backyard with 0 fear, and you would take that soil in from that sacred outdoors, and you would bring it inside, lick the seed, lick the crystal, plant the seed in the soil, so it recognizes the organisms in your soil, so it understands what kind of food web that it can do, and then kabam, it's growing. And then you never want it to really get root bound off. I mean, but if you're wrapping it around a crystal, you could let it sit in there for a minute in a 4-inch pot or something bigger. You could let that root go around the crystal a little bit and then plant it in its spot.
What crystal?
Then that's going to then go out.
Go ahead, Drake.
What crystal do you recommend for planting, or can it be various ones for people that are less educated on the subject and just curious about it?
Well, I would first off grab a crystal that means something to you. So there is no specific crystal that like a better flower. Let's just say crystals take in energy, and the one that you have the longest is going to have more of your energy into it. And part of washing it is part of just washing and cleansing it. It's not, in some cases, whenever you get a crystal from someone else, it's really important to wash it. You just don't know, what energy is in it, and it's a form of cleansing. So you cleanse it, then you put your energy into it. So, I mean, I would say it would be really, really interesting for a person who had clones to do maybe one bed with, okay, let's say there's 10 clones in one bed. You could put 10 different crystals under each clone, or maybe you have 5 beds, in your room, or 10 beds, and you put all those crystal, like all smoky quartz in one bed, all tourmaline in another bed, and then you just be like, that would be the one way that you would see which way that clone responded. You can say, I don't like, even if you had successes that, the tourmaline brought up the terps. So it's like, I'm going to call it terpaline for a joke, but the tourmaline brought up the terps in my Hindu Kush, right? But it doesn't mean that tourmaline is going to bring up the terps in your strawberry guava, because everything's different. But I think it's awesome to use crystal energy in your growing. Of course, you're using cosmic energy from crystals. Hopefully you're planting it by the moon.
Yes. So speaking of the moon, I was just going to say, my girlfriend says in chat, you charge your crystals by the moon. Let's talk about the moon. That's perfect. That leads into their perfect. And let's all take a dab or a rip or a bong rip, light your joints, load your bowls. I hope everybody's having a happy high Sunday out there. By the way, it's happy Sunday. Sunday sesh, not Saturday sesh, is what I put out there first. And
can I charge?
if you are here hanging out, make sure you have live chat up and not top chat, so you can be chatting away in the group with everybody. Yes, Eric, go ahead. What'd you say?
Oh, I was going to say, can I charge my THCA or CBD crystals by the moon? And can I plant THCA crystals under my plant?
Everything is possible. Yes, and yes. Maybe human beings built pyramids. We don't know how they did it, but they didn't have limitations. So we shouldn't create limitations for ourselves. Charge anything crystal. THCA is a crystal. Charge it. You know what I mean? Put that, leaf from your freaking hash water back in the soil because you charged it. It's not a crystal, but there's probably crystal like trichomes on the leaf, and you circled it and you structured it and you put it back in the soil. You know what I mean? If you look back on our IG post, we took hash water and put it in our soda stream like 4 years ago, I forget what it is. You can look it up. And we like made soda out of our hash water. I mean, hash water should be drank. When you make hash, why? I mean, of course you drink it, right? I mean, it's good for you.
It's like
Actually,
hydrosol.
mine went. I put mine back in the garden. I watered the garden back with it. What were you saying, Eric? I'm sorry.
I said it's like hydrosol. I mean, we make terpenes, and the runoff afterwards pretty much smells like hash water. So I'm sure it's pretty similar. Just the water solubles.
Have you tried drinking it?
Yeah, I haven't necessarily noticed any like benefits from it, but it's interesting. I've tried making tea with it, and that's really nice, and cooking with it a little. But
That's super awesome. You should give it to like a kombucha maker or something in your town, and be like,
That's a good
hey, what
idea.
if we do like, just because like there's someone scientist is going to come out like a genius and prove to us that there's some magical shit in there, you know, like just because science hasn't proved it doesn't mean it's not happening. So we just need to trust that there's magic in that water soluble terp that you have there, and just get it in people.
yeah, I think people could use some more terpenes in their day-to-day life, especially, you know, every shop I go to, there's, 10 milligram CBD water. So make that with hydrosol. There you go. And I know they use hydrosol from
live?
other plants. I'm in Salem, Oregon.
Oh, in Salem. Okay.
Yep. So, and then we make terpenes down in like Junction City, closer to Eugene.
Oh, really?
So
Who do you
I
do
guess
that
you
with?
guys hang. There's a couple of farms that we team up with, but the hemp farms are kind of no-name hemp farms, and then the processors we work with are like multi-generational mint farmers that go
Oh, cool.
way back. So I don't know if you know. I don't know. I guess we're on live. I don't know if everybody wants me to be saying their names.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
on
matter.
the internet.
Trust me, I'm with you. Yes, we're from the area. More than likely, we're it's someone.
Yeah, I'm sure we have
Who knows?
some mutual connections. But yeah, past 3 years now, we've been doing steam distilled hemp terpenes. And
wow.
been,
So is that a
real
hydrosol?
nice. Well, the hydrosol is the leftovers. The hydrosol is the water after we remove the terpene layer from the top. So what we'll do, we started relatively small with like 100 or 200 gallon stills, but now we're using like commercial mint stills. So we'll go through a hemp field, usually after they take the tops off and the bottom half of the plant's left. We'll chop it. And then since you've got a huge truck of it at that point, it's already composting on itself and gets to like 150 degrees in a couple hours. So we process it right then and there, or it just gets hot. Like overnight, it's toast, it's trash. So wet baled hemp makes me real skeptical after seeing what, a pile of it does. And then, we'll take it to the still. We'll run steam through it for, 2 hours or so, because it takes about an hour to break through the plant material and another hour or so to, get all your goodies. And then that all goes through a condenser. And then basically we just chill it with tap water. And then that tap water but we use nice water. Like we find nice water, which is one of the reasons our terpenes are high quality and taste real nice, because we've done it with not nice water and they don't come out as nice. And then basically the hydrosol all collects in what we call a separator, which is essentially just a big vat where the oil rises to the top. You scoop the oil off the top, and then what's left is the hydrosol, which is water and whatever, other water soluble compounds weren't there. And then theoretically you could like redistill that and get some more terpenes off, but insofar we just go with our first pass.
Or just put it into a sprayer, right?
I know
hydrosols.
Some people use it as like makeup remover in a sprayer. Like I know they do that with rose hydrosol and lavender hydrosol.
Yeah. How would it work in a bath salt?
I don't know. We'd have to maybe boil off all the water and see what was left.
Yeah.
Mix that in.
Yeah, it would only have to be oil carrier, because the minute you put water and salt, it's going to dissolve it. But the oils don't.
What about in a diffuser? Putting it in a diffuser in your house.
That'd be real nice. Now the terpenes themselves are so potent that if you put like a drop on your finger, like after a minute, the whole room smells like it. It almost gets overpowering. It's almost nauseating after a minute. So I don't know if the hydrosol would be a little too much, but I guess you could use a little hydrosol to a larger amount of
Yeah.
water.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean,
Just have to find the magic ratio.
When I was in Hawaii last, the hydrosols that they were making out of like tea tree and all the stuff out of there was like so fucking good. And everyone uses the rose water spray like in their car. You know, you just I'm spraying it. You know, I mean, it's so nice. Like that would be like super healing to be able to like spray terp water on yourself, I think. But
I'll have to play with it.
Now,
I don't think we have any on hand right now, but we're gonna do some more runs
No,
soon,
officer,
and I'll save
that's
some.
just officer, that's tap water. You know, it's not pot.
it's legal.
What were you saying?
You know, I mean, if you want to, is it regeneratively grown? Do they use plastic in the fields?
Not the people we work with, because we have to go, and it's not all altruistic, but part of the reason is because we go through with the mint chopper, and if there was plastic there, it would be a nightmare. So they do cover crops in between, they do shade crops, and then haven't really had a huge weed issue. They go through a couple times a year and handpick, but because we test for heavy metals and pesticides and et cetera, we don't grow around any like thing that they spray. Like they're not growing anything but beans around us, and nobody sprays.
I mean, the Willamette Valley is a hard one.
It's a hard one. Everywhere else we've grown, which is why we've worked with the same growers for the past 3 years now, but they're near vineyards and hazelnut orchards, and
those are the worst.
People start spraying over that property so the wind can carry it to the beginning of their property, and then they spray stuff that's illegal, and then it gets in the ground and it gets on the leaves, and it's just
hardcore
problems for years and years and years. But luckily we found some farmland that's been owned for multiple generations, and they're not doing nasty stuff, and we were able to not even use the plastic because, like I said, we go through and chop the bottom half of the plant and don't want plastic in our stuff. And
sounds awesome.
We've been lucky there. We did have
good
one crop. We had some issues of carryover from a neighboring farm, but didn't take anything from that plot the next 2 years. So you learn and you test. We do a lot of testing.
You have to guard your whole entire property with like 20 feet of poplar trees and willow trees that suck up the groundwater and block the airflow, because the Willamette Valley is just, it's crazy. I mean, I know people that have awesome farms there. I'm definitely not saying the whole Willamette Valley is fucked up. It's just a big valley and all the water like runs together, and you're just like, and I had a friend who lived next door to a hazelnut farm, and they just had to move, and it's just like, it's harsh core. It's harmful, but you find a better spot. That's why the mountains are good. You got to get away from people. Just get away from people. Trust me, I'm up in the mountains far as fuck away, and it's clean as hell up here. I feel like really good because we're not near anything toxic. I mean, there's no major forestry, but I don't think forestry, sometimes they use toxic things, but not very much in our area. They don't fly around. I don't know how trees are being planted here, but they probably are.
Incredible amounts of pesticides in every single tree.
Ugh, God, I hate pesticides in tree plots. Anyway, so that's really cool to hear, Eric. What's the name of your company?
So we sell the terps, Fat Dog, CBD, but our company is all under, it's called Harmonics. And we just released some hemp products into the OLCC recreational shops, up to 5% THC, and then everything else is mostly hemp or ancillary processing stuff like filtration media and terpenes.
So it's condensed, so it's up to 5% THC. Is that right?
That's Oh, Tara just pulled it up. Yep. And this is just our hemp products, not the one in the OLCC. But OLCC, we're allowed to do concentrates and extracts up to 5%. So we're doing, hashes and tinctures and lotions and stuff for the OLCC market with hemp products.
That's super great. If you ever feel like you need more hemp, we have Pure certified regenerative hemp farms that have extra hemp, and they would be very delighted to work with you. So let us know. Yeah.
I will keep that in mind because we're gonna probably need some new stuff because I grew last year, but a lot of it just kind of sat there. So I didn't grow this year just because the market was rough. And I didn't want to grow CBG just like everyone else because now everybody else is sitting on the CBG this year like they were with the CBD last year. So it's been interesting.
I think the biggest success is the small farmer that has a product on lock, and who the fuck knows? You know, I mean,
you got to find your niche.
Really blessed. We're feeling really blessed. We have a really good hemp product that we've been selling for lots of years now, but online we've been selling it for 2 years maybe. And it's really good. So very healing with the mushrooms.
Site, or where would they find that?
Yeah, you find it on dragonflyearthmedicine.com products.
Are you talking about your caps? Oh yeah, you're talking about the candy caps, right?
Yeah, there's that picture there in the center.
This is a jar that's empty of it, but
well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, his but no, it's a great hash jar. That's why it's in my fridge.
That's our whole thing. We never sell anything that's not reusable.
Yeah, but I like it. I got the brown jar. The last time we ordered, we got the brown jars. I like the brown jars. Yeah.
The brown jars are better. That's an updated label. And we're able to sell those, anywhere that we can in the world.
Yeah, I forgot. I do have a brown one right here. I knew I had one. I'm like, I had another one right here. Yeah. My husband really likes those capsules, by the way. He really likes them.
Well, contrary to popular belief in the cookie realm and in Berner's field, we actually have been doing medicinal mushrooms and cannabis for a long time, which is a joke because of what Shango put out.
So that video, I'm assuming you're talking about the cookie caps video from the other day.
Yeah.
I initially thought they were doing like pre-marketing, early marketing for a psilocybin line in the future, but now people are saying it's CBD and medical mushrooms. Is that what it is?
Yeah, medicinal mushrooms. I don't know, medical. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I hear. I'm sure somewhere in their train of thought, they're like, oh, we can just make this psychedelic eventually. That would be awesome. Of course.
Yeah, I thought they were just doing early marketing. I didn't think they were going to try to.
For all we know, they have a separate business in Oakland that already does it. But, Oakland is a place where you can sell it. What is it? Myco Oakland. We've been doing a couple posts about recently where they have.
Can you actually sell it there? I thought they just decriminalized it. Okay.
Well, decriminalizing it allows you to sell it. So they are selling it.
Wow. Well, at least
Oakland.
In Oregon. Oh, okay. In Oakland. I didn't know what their deal was. In Oregon, they decriminalized possession up to 12 grams, but growing it, distributing it, selling it, all that jazz is still, from my understanding, fully illegal. I don't know what Oakland's deal is. That's
a statewide mandate, which is a little different than like just a city one, like Denver, Santa Cruz, Oakland. Those ones are just like, you can grow it, sell it, fucking take it, doesn't matter. It's decriminalized. Right in Oregon, they're like, oh, well, we're going to make it like clinical, which is, it's totally sweet, but it's like more clinical in Oregon.
Which is, I guess, just a 2-year trial program, and they haven't even made all the rules for that yet or anything. And I think that's different than the decriminalization of the 12 grams of possession, because they had that one bill that decriminalized basically everything in possession.
Big time.
And then they had the other bill passed that had the mushroom program. But I don't think it's going to be like early medical days. I don't think we're going to have dispensaries and people growing it in their basement or anything like that. At least not for another couple of years.
I think the goal of the psychedelic community is to not have happened to psychedelics, which happened to cannabis, right? Because cannabis is like regulated and not legal. And now, well, depending on where you live. And then, cannabis would be like, oh, I don't want to happen to cannabis what happened to tobacco, because tobacco is truly fucked up. If you're in Canada and you think that you're getting good weed, it's fucked up too. It's fucked up here. It's bad weed in the in the recreational market. That's all I'm saying. Like just like in the legal licensed producer market of Canada, it's just irradiated, not herbal medicine. It's just blah, here's some cannabinoids, you know, and that's annoying as fuck. It's horrible. It's not medical. It's not access. It's not compassion. It's none of it. So anyway, I know a lot of people in the psychedelic community which are pushing laws and everything, and their whole thing is to keep it as good as possible. I mean, lessons get learned, right? You know, so hopefully they can make laws that allow them to do what they need to without affecting the medicine, you know, so it's a broad stroke.
Everything takes time, though. I think that, you know, I mean, it was Washington didn't have anything good that was for a long period of time. And now we're finally getting good concentrates in. Speaking of which, I should take a dab. Looks like Josh is going to take a hit on his rig up there. Oh, everybody puffing today. Hope you're all having an awesome day out there. Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. Say hi to your neighbors. Say hi to your brothers and sisters. Welcome everyone out there. What is everybody puffing on in chat? I haven't heard anybody saying what they're puffing on today. And hey, let's get back to the moon conversation, because we need to talk about this. We're gonna pop beans on New Year's. I already announced it at noon. So like I kind of already have to do that, but we were talking about when we should plant, and we're supposed to plant at the water moons. And so Josh was telling us about this calendar. So we'll let him finish up there if he needs to take a drink or whatever, catch up. And we'll get into talking about the calendar, because I'm super excited. I want to know more about this calendar and the planning by the moon and all that stuff, because I really don't understand it. It's something that I want to know more about. So therefore, we would love to hear more from Josh, because he apparently understands it a lot more than we do. Is he there?
Hello. So if Kelly was here, of course it would be very much more dynamic, and it would be coming from a wise woman healer. And I'm a man, and I've said that male intuition is a real thing, but female intuition is probably a lot stronger and better. But oh, well, here, hang on.
Well, look at that.
Hello.
We coaxed her in with the moon
Hey,
conversation. Hi, Kelly.
Look what the moon brought in.
Love you.
Love you guys, big time. How is everybody today this morning? Sorry I'm late. I just actually fell outside. I was holding the cat and a bunch of stuff, and I just totally bailed all over the place.
Yikes, well, I hope you're okay.
It's all good. Cat's good. I'm good. We're all good.
So we were just talking a little bit with Eric. He's doing amazing things with hemp down in Salem over in Oregon.
Nice. Nice to meet you, Eric.
We know and love Drake.
Hey, Drake. Nice to see you. Happy holidays, dear friends.
We're going to come visit you, Drake, by the way, because there's a beautiful cross-country skiing area over by Silver Star that we really want to go check out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
We
do
really
it.
like that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're at a place right now when we're going to explain moon planting. Tara Lee and her group and family, they want to start seeds on the first January 1st, because they want to grow giant plants.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to do it at noon. But then I was like, well, it's fun to choose a time, but if you choose it by the moon, it can be more powerful. And if you're going to grow a big plant, the dynamic of a plant that grows with the moon far surpasses a plant that's not planted by the moon.
Absolutely.
So we're just at a place right now where we're telling people about Stella Natura, which is one calendar you can get, which is a biodynamic calendar. And there's lots of other calendars. What would be some moon planting tips?
I think we lost everybody. Oh no. Okay, so another really amazing moon calendar, if you know how to read an ephemeris. And an ephemeris is really like looking at astrology. It tells like the path of the stars, it tells the path of the planets. And an ephemeris is a lot like a calendar of where are the stars on a daily basis. So what I really suggest that everybody learn how to do is read an ephemeris. You can go online, you can get different books, and you can find out what that means. And once you're able to start studying the ephemeris and the path of the different stars and the path of the planets, it makes it really easy so that you can actually look at a wee moon that really just tells the different phases of the moon, as well as the different phases of the moon signs. So not only do we have phases of the moon, like, you know, new moon all the way to, you know, our quarter moon or our half moon, and then to our full moon, there's incredible, you know, dynamics in planting that have with the phases of the moon, but there's also the signs of the moon. So the moon goes in and out of different signs every 3 to 4 days, sometimes 2 days, but mostly every 3 to 4 days. And the times that you want to be planting are when the moon is in a water sign. And a water sign is either your Scorpio, your Pisces, or what was the last one that I'm thinking
Cancer.
of? And Cancer. So your Cancer, your Pisces, and Scorpio are your water signs. Whenever the moon is in a water sign and it's at a new moon cycle, so water sign and new moon cycle, that is a wonderful time to plant your seeds. Now, what we always do every year to try to get, you know, those really big plants is we always go for the new moon Pisces in Aquarius. So Aquarius is in February. We started our plants in January before, and we just feel like it was too far ahead. So we always go for February. And if you plant it around the new moon cycle, when the moon is in Pisces, that's your absolute ultimate time. You can also do it when it is in Cancer, but because Aquarius and Pisces are so close together, that you're going to have a really beautiful new moon cycle in Pisces.
What about wax?
So whenever the moon is in a new moon, that means it repeats its sun sign. So this is something really easy for everybody to understand and know. So when we're in the middle of August and it's Leo, and we know that the sun sign is in Leo in August, the new moon is always going to be in Leo. And then the new moon is always going to be the opposite of that moon sign, which is Capricorn. So the opposite of Aquarius is Capricorn. So whenever you're in a sun sign like Leo, then the new moon cycle is going to be Leo. And then the full moon cycle is going to be the opposite of that, which is Aquarius, or which is Capricorn. So it's super easy to understand the cycles of the moon. Oh, Josh, did you just put something up here? Oh, good. Okay, good. So somebody just put up this ephemeris, and that's really beautiful. In order to learn how to read the ephemeris, there's lots of really awesome books out there. One of the very best books for a beginner is called The Only Astrology That You'll Ever Need to Know. It's the most easy book that you can find out there. It's really cheap. You can find it at Powell's bookstore. And it's oh, here we go. The only astrology book you'll ever need.
So tomorrow is a full moon and also winter solstice. Is there any significance there in terms of planting?
And that Christmas star.
Well, yes, because there's an incredible conjunction of planets coming together tomorrow and today. It starts in the night sky tonight and it goes in tomorrow. So we will actually be seeing what they call a Christmas star for the first time in 800 years, because Jupiter and Uranus will be converging tomorrow with a bunch of other planets.
Can you still hear us? Because our screen froze.
Okay, good.
What I'm doing is
good.
I'm spotlighting you guys, so you'll see you guys, because if you're showing something, I spotlight for everybody, so you're okay, Josh.
Okay, good.
Go ahead.
This is a wee moon, and this is a really, really important book, calendar, and this is the one that's the binder. And
They also have one for your wall, but the one that's an actual binder like this, I really recommend every single person who is planting cannabis, who is planting anything, is getting a wee moon. It is very much so women's based. It's run by a women's cooperative. It really focuses on women and planting and tells women stories But, because we are partaking in a feminine, why not go towards the feminine from a feminine standpoint? So, and also such as this with really gorgeous art that's always really based in the feminine. And Josh put up another one that is, more for masculine and feminine for sure. The Stella Natura, highly recommend that. It's a biodynamic. Well, I'm just saying that it isn't just, feminine. It's a biodynamic calendar. But to get to what you were talking about for tomorrow, they're actually saying, people that have been studying astrology for a very long time say that what is going to be happening tomorrow and in the night sky tonight is incredibly changing for our planet. It's supposed to be a really big transitional change in what we've all been feeling with this sort of bottleneck of stress. We've been feeling a lot of bottleneck of energy. A lot of things are stagnating, unable to move. I mean, even the presidency of the USA, it all was lined out. We're not political on one side or the other, but it really has caused a lot of turmoil within the US and turmoil even within people's own homes. So this new conjunction that's happening tonight and tomorrow is really going to be an incredible defining moment for where you are. We're going to be having real lines in the sand right now on where people stand. And I really suggest that everybody, listening today, I think the place that we all need to stand is the place of our heart. We need to all get out of our head and recognize that it is not about a differentiation of what color you are, what socioeconomic place you come from, what you believe in politically, where you live on the planet, what you believe in as far as religion goes. We all need to lay down those swords of difference, and we need to find togetherness. And this conjunction in the planets that's happening is all about that. So today and tomorrow is a beautiful time to do meditation, lay down your swords of differences, and let's really try to come together and find what it is that binds us as human beings and stop fighting against differences and coming together as a communal race of human beings, as a collective consciousness.
Of humus beings, soil-loving humus beings. Healthy because we're connected to the soil, humus loving humans.
We need to find our togetherness, and this conjunction in the sky is really going to be laying it down. People are going to be having some real difficulties in sticking with their, steadfast need of divisiveness. We need to lay down the divisiveness, and we will find that things are going to be much easier when we're more open to each other's differences and recognize that we are all beings of love on the planet. And that's really all that we're really trying to accomplish, is togetherness and love.
And the largest being on earth is mycelium, and mycelium works together in a web. And we've always said that we have a mycelial consciousness of love. We understand each other. And as the web gets wider, the weave gets tighter. Did you guys hear that? Because it looked like it. Okay, cool. As the web gets wider, the weave gets tighter. So we're weaving into the earth, and we're, planning for the future. So what would be, to tie it back around, your suggestion? If you guys had any
questions, I covered a lot of little things there, and definitely, is there any specific questions?
Everybody in chat is everybody in chat saying, one says draw a line in the sand, nice, one love, well said. Everybody's loving what you're talking about. Put unity back in the community. So
check this out.
Thanks, Kelly. Very well said.
It's so important. Not only are the stars telling us that we need to find unity, but we're all feeling it. Like those people who are going to bed with divisiveness in their hearts are waking up with divisiveness in their hearts. And we all know that, of course, soil is really good for our health and well-being, but number one, happiness is good for our health and well-being. when we're happy, we are more healthy. So let's all really try to find happiness, and then healthiness through happiness. And a lot of you out there would be like, well, fuck, how am I going to find happiness? There's so much stuff going on in my life. It's so difficult. You know what I say to everybody? Fake it. Fake it then. Fake it for an hour. If you've had to be happy for an hour, and really that even pretending of being happy can then make you feel like, whoa, that actually did something for me. So I'm really, really imploring everybody to try to find things that make you happy, even putting on a funny movie.
So give the gift of weed this Christmas.
Thank you very much, Eric. Yes. That was very well placed.
Mm-hmm. And the gift of weed can help you out very much. And for a lot of people who are just starting, and new to cannabis, which, I mean, really, I've been finding more and more people new to cannabis just even in the last 2 months than almost ever before, because maybe they're either coming out of the closet, or they're willing to say, hey, I've not really tried this before, or they're willing to try it. And they are seeing other people who are using cannabis, and they're, seeing happiness, or their friends and family that are being relieved of some of their pain. So those of you who are newbies at it, just try a little bit. Talk to your friends who have been partaking in cannabis a long time. It's okay. It's a plant. It's a plant that's been evolving with us since the very beginning of our split as a zygote, as a human being from a single cell, because it's in our endocannabinoid system. So take it slow. I love that, Eric. Yeah, weed.
There's a lot. There's
another
more
thing. Go ahead, Josh.
Go ahead.
No, go. We've been talking.
I was just gonna say another thing we really need to. I do that all the time, by the way, in my town. I drive.
Just did.
Thank you.
I do. I just
okay. Good.
Every time I go downtown and buy a dispensary, I go give a bag of weed to a homeless person. I drive around until I find someone.
Acknowledgement.
Like I'm just kind of like,
okay.
It just everybody's down their luck, so
just to
none
give
more than that. Yeah.
It's a weed because it's giving, so we have to keep giving with it.
Absolutely.
Tara, I love you. You're so awesome
you.
and fantastic and wonderful. Please, everybody, follow her lead. She's giving away cannabis to homeless people. Follow her lead. There's people out there who really need it.
And inspiration to people to get well. So what were you going to say, Tom?
Well, I just wanted to remind everybody that's on social media that right now we're setting an example for the cannabis community. And what we're doing and what we're saying, how we present ourselves on social media to people who in the world have never tried cannabis before, we need to really think about some of those things we say, some of those things we do, some of these things in chat that people so rudely say. I am so embarrassed by some of the stuff people say in this community. And I really think if you're hearing my voice, please clean it up. If you're one of those people, please clean it up. We have good karma in this community. And I love each and every one of you out there. And I wish each and one of you out there happiness and healthiness today. So please go out and support one another and be proud to support one another and be positive in the chats. Support one another by being positive out there. So please, thank you. And thank you for being here to support me. And on that note, we have Darren coming in.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. And you nailed it, Tara, as always. And that's what we care about. We care about the community. We just want to get great information out and share awesome stories from amazing people, just like Josh and Kelly here. And like big Darren who hopped in, Eric over here. But let's hear what Darren's up to. How's it going, Darren?
Good. How are you?
We are doing awesome. We're having an amazing time. We're getting a ton of awesome information from Josh. We managed to get Kelly in talking about the moon cycles. So I think she's roped in now, and it's just been incredible. So we're happy that you were able to pop on.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm here.
We're here.
Hi,
look at that.
Hey, Darren.
Happy holidays, dear love.
Happy
Wonderful
bong
to
rips,
see you.
mother lovers.
You as well. Let's do a bong rip. Seeing as how I'm here, my doggy won't leave me alone. She's
here. What's everybody token on? Tell me.
My dog won't leave me alone. Fucking thing. What are you doing?
Tropicana hash brown.
What's everybody token on? What are you token on this morning?
Champagne OG, and then also some Sour Lifter, which is one of the new hemp strains from the Crawford guys, Oregon CBD. So that one's real interesting
Yeah, I'm
because
familiar with
I don't
that.
know if you know, but most hemp is like mostly myrcene in terms of the terpene profile. And this had like almost a 1-to-1-to-1 myrcene, beta caryophyllene, terpinolene. So it's a lot gassier than a lot of hemp is.
Oh,
So
terpinolene.
it's really interesting
Oh, wow.
to see hemp
Yeah.
make that
Nice.
turn. Yeah.
Dude.
Nice.
Even
This-
with what Humboldt Seed Organization does too, with the Kush hemp and the sour diesel hemp and all that is like just truly amazing and stuff.
And speaking of terpinolene, are a gorgeous, amazing, unbelievable cut of Jack hair, one of the very original Jack hairs, still in Eugene and Bend,
Which
we
is
were
one of the
able to get-
highest terpinolene strains.
yeah, highest terpinolene strains
The Jack
out there.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gas.
Okay, Josh and Kelly, I'm muting your video. I had to mute you guys. Are you coming back in? We'll give it a minute. There you
let's
are.
see.
We're trying to-
Kelly, I muted your video. Can you start all over on that and explaining that terpene and that cut? We couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you want to put it on our
That's
camera?
okay. That's
Are
okay.
we on now?
No, if you leave your camera off,
We'll
you're
just
coming in
leave your
crystal
camera
clear.
off and we'll hear you. We'll leave your camera off. It's okay.
Oh,
we can hear
okay.
you.
Yep. Sorry,
ahead.
everybody. We're on satellite way out
That's
in the
okay.
wilderness, and our
We're just
you know,
happy that you could
They
make
say
it.
one day we're gonna get fiber optics, but we'll see.
Yeah. So I was just saying that what I'm looking on is an early 90s cut of the most amazing Jack hair that I've ever smoked or known of before. And it's a cut that comes from Eugene, and I know it's up in Bend, and a bunch of people have been sharing it throughout the years. And it's one of my most favorite strains out of everything. And the Zelly's Gift was made out of that. As well as, you know, a bunch of our crosses, our homesteader. The homesteader was made out of this particular mother. And we haven't had this cut in about 6 years, and we just got it back for this year. So
It's the highest terpinolene strain.
Yeah, we only grew 2 plants, and they're from my head stash. Both plants. If you come here, I'll share it with you, but that's about it.
And I'm smoking this garlicot coffee, which is the garlic apricot by coffee, which is a seed we got from Green Source Gardens. And it has like an OG essence to it because the coffee is the Alien OG by Alien Kush from Kaya, Pacific Northwest roots. And then it does have kind of like a peppery, kind of spicy, sort of a fruity kind of note to it too. But it came out really crystally and really beautiful this year. So this garlicot coffee became one of the ones we decided to use as a male, and did a lot of crosses with it. It's really beautiful.
So our seed stock this next year is going to be really incredible. We're super excited about it. And once we get to it, we'll start releasing it and giving it away and doing a bunch of, you know, things with the seeds. Try to help make some money for some people out there who are in need as well.
I mean, as far as moon planting though, Tara, I was just looking.
Here, I'll look at it.
Look at the December 30th.
Well, let me see.
Just saying.
So are you set on putting your plants in January? February really seems to be a better time as far as not having
So I was thinking this would be a good experiment. Let's go ahead and continue to plant some on the 1st that we already called out, and then let's plant some on the new moon cycle, and let's do a side by side. Let's just do it. Let's play. Why not? I got lots of
here.
You guys.
So.
Okay.
Look at
Oh
I'm
yeah,
in
and I'll
support
give
of
you
anything
more.
that gets Tara growing more beans.
Okay, well, here's
Okay,
over the
so-
years we've done a few different things. started it in January, start it in February, start it in March, start it in April. It's unbelievable that when you plant the seed and it gets it right where the roots never stop growing, like the plant goes huge. And sometimes we've planted plants in earth like too early, and then they get like root bound in the pot, and then they have to like grow out of the root bound into the soil, and sometimes they turn out not as big. So it's almost like if you're going to start them inside, you want to start them in a good sized pot. Like if you have room, you could start them in like a 20-gallon pot, let them grow out to where you could transplant it, because 20 gallons is hard for some people to transplant, but a bigger pot. And then if you can get that pot in the ground as soon as possible, that's your biggest plant.
Well, the biggest plant is always going to be the one too that doesn't go through any stress. So whatever it is that you're doing, or whenever it is that you're planting, make sure that it doesn't go through any stresses. And that's one of the reasons why, moon planting is so wonderful, is because you're taking out an extra stress even in the germination of the plant. So what Josh is saying is that when we planted them too early, we've noticed that we've had to call or even trying to get the plants out of the pots to get them in the ground. So really, out of all of our years of doing so many different tests and experiments,
which we suggest you continue to experiment and
yeah.
definitely prove us, do whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah. So absolutely experiment, because then you get to what is going to work for you. But what's worked here on our farm more than anything is direct sowing. So now we've done so many different indoor cycles of big plants, and starting in January and February. And I love big plants. They're incredible sentient beings. You get to really see them all the way through their cycle. You get to understand what kind of varietal they are. And that is awesome. So growing big plants, yes, thumbs up. As far as for production and health and well-being, what we've come to is direct sowing, because the plant goes through zero stresses. There's no pots involved. There's no plastic involved. The seeds that come up are the ones that are really supposed to come up. Sometimes we might even see seed rotting in our very rich, microbial rich soils. That's okay, because ones that do come up are the ones that are hardy and set for our, area, for our soil, for, our epigenetics as a whole.
When you but when you plant the one in January, then you'll have like a 6-foot plant to transplant out, because you're going to put it outside, right? Like that's the point. You're growing it out, outside to make it huge. So you're going to have like a 6-foot plant, which is really, it's super awesome. And it will be bigger than the direct sown one, so that it's fun to try it all. And it's also hard to get a pot that transplants really easy. So don't use a cloth pot and to plant in when you're going to transplant like a 6-foot plant, because the cloth pot, you're probably just going to end up having to cut the pot and just peel it off, because it's nearly impossible to transplant, those cloth pots.
And,
last season,
and I wanted to go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, last season I did a fair amount of little self-experiments at home, and for the least amount of stress for kind of larger plants in that situation for myself, I found just being really delicate and cutting the bottom, 1 inch off of the plastic pots, and then just planting that into the soil worked great. As far as side-by-sides, there was like 1/3 of the amount of time it took for it to kind of acclimate to its situation compared to the ones that got all bashed around and transplant stress. But continue on. Sorry, Kelly.
Nice.
Yeah, no, that's
great.
cool. And
It's
again,
awesome.
we talked about, planting with a crystal and everything. And that's where, starting a pot early and then not letting it get too root bound. But, if you're doing like experiments, there's reasons to do different things.
So I wanted to tell everybody, I'm looking at the ephemeris right now. The very best time to plant is in January, starting on Friday the 15th at 2:17 p.m.
Pacific Standard
So
Time.
sometime in the later afternoon, Pacific Standard Time, Friday the 15th, Saturday the 16th, Sunday the 17th until 11:07 p.m. So you really have the afternoon of Friday the 15th. There we go.
If you
This
can-
is January. And it's really cool because how wonderful. It's over a weekend. So it's over a weekend for all of you people who have weekday jobs. You'll be able to have your weekend free to be able to germinate. And that's for January. And then I can look
And then
here.
for February, we'll give you all each month.
And then we can look for February. The very best days in February are always going to be, of course, 28 days and a few days after that, because the moon usually runs in 28 to 29 day cycles. So it's going to be a full moon again in 28 to 29 days. And that is going to put you on Thursday, the 11th.
Of February.
So February the 11th at 11:23 p.m. So actually Thursday is out as far as a day goes. It starts on the day in the evening by midnight, Thursday the 11th, and February you can start planting.
A lot of people are just
February the 12th is a good day. It's a noon and seas. And then February the 13th is also a good day, all the way through the evening on the 13th, because it goes into Aries, which is it's just fire sign, which is not good. So there you go.
Very cool.
Do you guys want me to go through March or just leave it for February?
Let's leave it there because you're going to be back
Oh,
on
geez.
by then.
Okay.
Let's do updates.
Oh yeah, we can talk
Yeah,
about it.
so
again.
let's
We need to
do-
March, April, and May.
Yeah, so you're going to be back on several times, by the way. We're going to be chatting. We have some new shows coming up. We've been talking behind scenes. I want to let everybody know what we've got going on. We're going to be having a series of shows. Some are going to be called Cancer and Cannabis. I've had a lot of people reaching out to me, asking me information about how to use things for people that have cancer. They're going through things. And I just don't feel like I'm educated enough to speak upon that. So I was able to reach out to some really highly educated people, and we're going to be bringing some of those people on and be speaking on that. Dragonfly, you guys are going to be introducing me to some people. Also, do you guys want to talk about who you know?
We did a really wonderful webcast with Dr. Sunil and Dr. Standish at the Ames Institute in Washington. And, they have incredible experience over there. They're in the Seattle zone. And, with cancer and patients and patient care and case studies, they have an amazing experience. So I think they would be, we'll reach out to them.
They're working specifically in psychedelic studies and curatives with psychedelic studies, ketamine research therapy, cannabis research therapy. And we're going to put up, we've had for a few weeks that panel, which was really mind blowing and such a wonderful panel. We felt so honored to be a part of it. We're going to go ahead and put that up on our YouTube page today. And I'll pass that over to you. You can do whatever you want with it as well, Tarly. So we're really going to try to have them on, as well as Dr. Terry Willard has been working with, cancer and, cancer as a virus or cancer as a malady, as well as cancer patients, specifically involving herbal remedies and plant medicine.
And also working more and more with Lyme disease and
absolutely. And injury
and concussions. These are, for some reason, these things are, coming into our world more and more. Well, Lyme disease, people say, is like the global warming, like #1 new, disease to be, expanding due to the environmental changes.
Yeah, and more people have been reaching out to me, and I've been taking on that doctor-patient role more in my life lately, because I feel like more and more people are really needing of information to become self-empowered with their own health and well-being. Our own health and well-being have been in the hands of big education and big pharma, and now it's time for us to take back that. So the more that I can educate all of you, the more that you all can educate other people. This is not the idea that this information is in the few hands of very few. That is ridiculous. We all have the ability to gather knowledge from each other, and we all have the ability to heal one another and to pass on information and knowledge. And just because somebody has some more information and knowledge does not mean that they are higher or lower. We all have this ability to rise up and heal ourselves and take our own healing into our own hands.
Kel, can you give us 5 things that you would be taking right now to stay healthy in this time? 5 herbal things that everyone could do to detox and build their immune system, to build their natural immune system and antibodies to fight the illness that's happening.
Okay, he's putting me on the spot. So number 1 is find happiness. Number 1, find happiness.
Somehow.
Whether that's through meditation, inspiration. I just heard of an amazing story of somebody that got over really deep-seated lifelong depression by deciding to read autobiographies of all of the people that they were most inspired about. So he spent an entire year reading autobiographies of people that he was most inspired about, and he was totally healed from his depression. That's just one example. Get out there, exercise. That all brings in happiness. Secondly, absolutely ally. And when I say cannabis, I don't mean just cannabis. I also mean all plant medicines, because when we ally with cannabis, we're also allying with medicinal mushrooms, we're allying with nettles, we're allying with comfrey, we're allying with all of these wonderful medicinal herbs that feed the cannabis plant. So she is also a great teacher. When we give health and well-being to the cannabis plant, then she gives us this deep knowledge of what it is that we need. And that is biodynamics and everything. The next thing is drink a lot of water, good water. And with that water, you can do tea infusions, nettle infusions, red raspberry leaf, Tulsi basil. They call it sacred basil for a reason. This is something that from all the way back in Ayurvedic script, that it came of Krishna's body, that it is of Krishna's body, that it is of Shakti's body. It's also an adaptogen, just like cannabis is. So ashwagandha, that's
and
really
also,
great.
Living water is spring water. So your #1 choice for water, if you don't, have good water coming out of your tap, is to have get spring water, distilled water and purified water. You don't know where it comes from.
And online, there's these great websites that's springwater.com. And springwater.com is like where people have, said locations of
different
springs all over the world that you can go and just fill up your bottle.
And at the homebrew store, you can get glass 5-gallon and glass 6-gallon containers called carboys. And you can get like a cork for the top of it.
Very expensive.
So you could fill up glass containers. That's your best choice if you can. And then, then you have to be careful with it, which creates a sacredness around the water, because then you put a bunch of intention on being careful with your water because you care. Excuse me. Water's really important.
We get really excited over here.
And then what are some of the
Okay. So the next thing that I would say to ally with is your microbiome. So Number 3, microbiome. Get in all of those prebiotics,
Cheese,
probiotics,
sauerkrauts,
yeah, and only
kefir water.
And when I say to ally with your microbiome, that also means allying with the foods that you put in your body that feed your microbiome. So when you want to feed monkeys, you don't give monkeys, there you go, girl, that is wonderful. I love that blueberry blast, Nature's Lice, acidophilus probiotics. People who are experiencing a lot of headaches or experiencing low energy, it's probably coming from your microbiome. Pretty much all maladies come from your microbiome. Lactobacillus, bifidus, bidem. I mean, it goes on and on. Ally with these things and also feed them.
And BioK is another good one at the store, BioK.
Yeah. And if you don't know what a microbiome is, you can go on any of our YouTube videos. It's everything that we're preaching about. And we're not just preaching, we're educating, because then we want you to go out and educate other people with it. So that was number 3. Number 4, allying with, as much as we need to put into our body of healthy things, we also need to detox our body. So activated charcoal, everybody needs to be going out and getting activated charcoal. It's very cheap. It's very easy to take. It's tasteless. You can put it in a glass of water with a little splash of apple juice, and you can take 2 tablespoons a day. So that's 1 tablespoon twice a day, and you'll have really awesome, good, super black charcoal shits.
You can
that
also
just
put it
means
in
that
pancakes and different breads or different things, you know, which you'll see activated charcoal croissants and different things out there.
But as a detox, it's good to take it all at once on an empty stomach. First thing in the morning or right before you go to bed, and it really is able to like take up 600 times its weight in toxins. It's something massive like that. Don't quote me on numbers ever. I always lie when it comes to numbers. So number 5, medicinal mushrooms. Absolutely. So medicinal mushrooms, chaga, cordyceps, turkey tail, reishi,
agarikon. Agarikon is really good for the lungs. Psilocybin and microdosing together with Chinese herbs. When you take mushrooms, you should take other supportive herbs like even raw cacao, spirulina, Chinese herbs, ashwagandha, foti, different things that support your immune system while you're taking the mushrooms. So that's important with the psilocybin.
Maybe we're cutting out.
With the psilocybin.
We're cutting out.
So
we're cutting out.
Okay. But agarikon is really good for the lungs, you know, and that's historical through native traditions. And it's also been proven in Western medicine to like fight tuberculosis and support the lungs. And also cordyceps because it helps build oxygen in your blood. And it's also used by athletes and it supports the lungs as well. Lion's mane because it's nootropic, and that's spelled Nootropic. Nootropic means that it's a cellular regenerative herb, or in this case, mushroom. Compound. And so nootropic are regenerative cell builders. So that's why it's good for the brain, for cognitive function, for it helps in Alzheimer's, dementia, any kind of cognitive ailments. And so the medicinal mushrooms are an important aspect of the compounding that you would take, you know, with other supportive herbs, which we said.
And it's really cool because we talk about how we can grow cannabis indoors and how we can take control over our own health and well-being of people that live in cities. And Josh and I are really preaching, and a lot of people, about regenerative and get it underneath the sun and, you know, the importance of that. But we also feel like the bridge to talking about growing indoors, which we've talked about with you so many times, Charlie, the importance of taking back growing your own medicine. A lot of these medicinal mushrooms can be grown inside in a little tiny apartment
and in bags
and in bags.
Speaking of which, I had my husband, I sent him the link the other day. I'm trying to get him to get me some lion's mane. I'm thinking about growing some myself. So
Yeah.
once you grow them, then is it best to dry them then and then put them in this stuff? Or is it better if you can have them fresh, then eat them fresh? Like, is that better? Like where you guys sit with that?
Always fresh is best with everything.
And if you're growing it, you'll be more in tune with the cycle of its growth, of its growth cycle. Because in the case of reishi, you're going to see you'll see a pin, a primordial head come up out of the ground, and then it'll turn into a fruiting body reishi, which you're used to seeing, but then it'll sporulate on top of itself. And in some cases in China, the spores can be like an inch deep on top of the mushroom. And the spores are exponentially more powerful than the fruiting body. So people make medicine from spores. And so that's important to take note of. Mushrooms are, are we going to use the mycelium? Yeah, why not? The mycelium has compounds. Are we going to use the fruiting body? For sure, it's the fruiting body. It's the climax of its life cycle. But then, the sporulation is the condensed medicine in a spore. And
And when you grow it, you're breathing it in. You're never missing out on any of that fruiting body's sporulating time period.
in the case of wild polypores, you get them, and then we slice them up when they're wet, and then you dry them out. But you can use them in every state, and always living juice, living medicinal juice is, really more powerful than anything. But then again, this mushroom right here is, locked in time. So this medicine right here, even dried, will continue to have its medicinal qualities, for years, as long as other insects don't start eating it, which right now this one's really clean. And it's a polypore, and it's because there's many pores on the bottom, and the pores are where the spores come from when it sporulates. What about quercetin?
I think I went through all 5.
Do you say quercetin?
Well, I mean,
No, okay.
I think that was good.
Yeah. So, so just to add on to that, so all of us have pets, and most of us have dogs or cats. Like, what types of those things that you just told us that would be good for us would be beneficial for our animals? Because I know you guys have animals as well. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Every single one of them. Yep. All 5 are good for us, are good for our animals. All of our medicinal mushrooms, I'd not suggest that we feed our animals cubensis or psilocybin mushrooms. I don't think that we have enough case studies in that. And we wouldn't want to, harm them. But all the other medicinal mushrooms that we spoke about that are non-psychedelic are really awesome, as well as probiotics. You can get goat yogurt, local goat yogurt, and your dog can have 2 tablespoons a day. Cats love it too. So local goat yogurt is really rich in probiotics, and animals love it, and it's really good for them. And happiness, because you're happy and you take them on lots of walks and you fulfill them with a raw food diet, and also baked squash or potatoes. So what we do is almost all raw, but we always bake our carbohydrate, which are our squash or potatoes. And we put that in there because it helps keep weight on the animals too. And they need, nutrients as well as something fulfilling, just like we do.
I think we're noticing that the animals are, really expressing a lot more allergies nowadays, like humans are. So, just normally going out and buying dog food and cat food is really not working so much anymore. And dogs are getting hot spots. They're like losing their fur. They're looking sick. And it's just because there's too much grain in their diet. And maybe the grain isn't organic and it has too much glyphosate, and now it's ruined their biome. And dogs have a lot of allergies nowadays. So when we're suggesting making their food for them, it's saying, okay, well, dog food is partly, and cat food is just the dregs of any agriculture industry. It's the dregs of any animal industry, and it goes into the dogs and cats. And so when we feed them stuff from, like, we're feeding our dogs and cats a lot more from our garden, like all of the potatoes and the things like that base, we grow extra for them, and then we save it. And
all of the really punky ones, or ones that are really funky, you know, that would maybe take a lot of work for us to peel, we'll just bake them for them, and they love them, and it's super awesome.
So
they don't care if they're punky. Yeah, grain free for sure, which is really nice. So Darren, what are you up to? You're all, I can't see everybody. We're only seeing. Nice.
On my weed. I'm growing a little bit of mushrooms right now, trying those out. I got a nice little kit going. Hanging with my dogs, locked down here up in Prince George. Prince George, I guess, is a real hot spot in the province right now. It's really fucking bad up here right now with the COVID, ICU, and all the
holy shit
extra units are all full, and people have being sent out of town to Nanaimo and Vancouver and that sort of stuff since last week. Like it's pretty scary up here right now. And, you know, it's just, you know, I understand. I really get how a lot of people are about their rights and all this sort of stuff, but it's not like the old days where the British used to come over to fuck your new wife before you did, just in case, so that they can plant their seed before you in the old days. You know what I mean? Like, we're not being imposed on pretty hard like the old days. Wear a fucking mask, stay home, do what you can. Like, it's pretty simple. Prince George is really bad right now though. And it's, you know, I don't know why it's so hard to comply for some people, but, we as a whole in Canada seem to be pretty soft, and I think we should all pull together a little more. That's pretty much.
I think the compliance goes like into all of the health and well-being that we're talking about. It's not just, I don't wear a mask. It's, check out my medicine bag, motherfucker. I'm gonna live through this son of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like, we're taking it on, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just sit on the couch and not do anything about it. You know, it's like, you have to fight something, you know, that's out there, and you have to take charge of, you know, a situation. And so, you know, doing what you have to keep, you know, society happy is one thing, but like, I think it's important for people.
Did a lot of preserving as well, a whole bunch of meals in jars and stuff, because I got a book and started reading it and checking it out, and got on a website, a Facebook page called Rebel Canners, and man, you can can fucking milk, all kinds of stuff. Like, it is it's fucking unreal. And I've been canning everything. I've got burritos in a jar, I got chicken fajitas in a jar. I've got all kinds of salmon. Like, I could, you know how Forrest Gump listing off the shrimp boat stuff, gumbo shrimp, popcorn shrimp, all that sort of stuff. Well, I got that much salmon as well in jars of so many different kinds. And all the salmon, what I did with all the extra skin and the fins and all that kind of stuff, I jarred them up into nice little individual jars about this size for my dogs, because that shit's just nothing but good for them. I put a teaspoon of olive oil in it, or avocado oil, and let it soak up, and, you know, get those fatty things in there. And dogs love it, but holy shit, do they stink? Oh fuck, it's bad. It's a couple times a month thing, right? Otherwise, my little Shih Tzu, she gets nothing but raw food. But we change it up with lamb, we change it up with chicken hearts, change it up with gizzards, livers, Sometimes she will eat things. She'll devour them for 4 or 5 days in a row, and then she'll just turn her nose to it and say, no, I don't like this today. And I'll be like, fuck you, you're eating it. Sometimes she's pretty spoiled. My little Frenchie, she has tummy problems from the start, and we got her on a GI diet right now that seems to be working for her for now. But I want to get her on the raw food and the vegetables and that sort of stuff. Like, I know she'd benefit from that, but I'm just not sure if she's able to handle it, her stuff, because of the allergies and everything else, right? I got to find a nice happy medium there for her. So we'll figure it out. Growing my weed, loving it. The Alias lights are really fucking doing good. I got dirt plants going as organic as I can. Like, I'm adding calcium and magnesium from General Hydroponics, so I don't think that's an organic thing very, very much. But that's the only additive I've put in it besides fish shit and microbial mass. But I hear that microbial mass and fish shit are two of very similar compounds. I don't know if you guys can top off on that, but I've only put that in the feeding of my soil plants with a mixed soil and everything, and the plants are absolutely fucking loving life in there right now. They're almost 2 weeks into bud, week and a half into bud pretty much, and just doing great.
That's rad.
So when you say microbial mass, oh, is that the stuff? Oh, right. That's like the mammoth pea stuff.
Yeah,
What it's
yeah, it's the
microbial.
Canadian mammoth.
Yeah,
pea
no,
kinda.
because we had what's it, David Perrone here, and he helped make that product. That's him and his friend. But you like it. That's good to hear.
Well, they you know,
I love it.
the plants that I just did real experimental, just total experimental underneath these lights before Christmas here. And they turned out really nice, but they were so purple, the stalks and everything like that. Like, I wanted to really see what they could do with the proper feeding and all that sort of stuff, and the soil. And right now, I'll do an update on my Instagram here, but it is fucking nuts in there right now. All the plants are just praying. There's nice light green every night from the new growth all over everything. The bud sites, I topped them twice, so there's like 8 fucking tops coming off a lot of these plants. It's nuts. I really, really like watching these grow right now. Yeah.
You should get more lateral growth out of a higher microbial soil. I mean, that, you know, one that has, you know, a lot of breakdown happening and stuff, and you know, so that's cool that you're seeing that.
And often more nodes too. You know, if you do however you
yes.
do that, you'll see more nodes.
Yeah, I'm noticing that, and I also noticed that the cloning off of really, really fucking healthy plants, of course, too, right? Like the plants that I usually have that I clone off of, by budding my mothers out and starting new ones and going that way. But the mothers that I got budding out, or the tops that are going off on it, are just nuts. And the clones that I took off of them, I went to check the roots a little bit early, just to see, you know. I looked under there and I was like, holy shit, they're all rooted, all happy, fucking loving life, you know, good roots on them. And I couldn't believe it. They were they rooted like about a week and a half that way. Like, usually it's about I don't usually touch them for a good 2 weeks under the tray, under the hood. I just leave them after the first cut, after they're initially planted. But yeah, they're kicking ass. So yeah, it's
what you're doing is you're feeding the endophytic system of the plant. So when you add microbiology from the very beginning, you're actually feeding the plant's microbiome.
Like the plant blood.
Like the plant blood, and what you feed the plant as like living fungi and living bacteria actually goes up inside of the plant's body and becomes the blood of the plant. and then creates a higher intelligence for the plant to uptake things easier. So it's super cool. We've been doing a lot of studies over the last 3 years on the endophytic system of the plant, specifically the cannabis plant, which there's not a lot of information out there, which hopefully there will be in the future. But I love that, because it's like, it's the difference between feeding a child, and believe me, I'm not putting one thing down over the other. There's all different ways that we do things. And it's the difference of feeding a baby breast milk from a mother over feeding a baby formula that has different supplements in it. So then our body uptakes those nutrients in a different way. When a baby gets living breast milk, or a plant gets living organisms, then it actually goes inside of the baby or the plant to help it to know what type of nutrients to uptake for its entire life, or even just for that day.
It's basically making your plant intelligent.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, you're
Doing what it does
creating an
best.
environment which respects its intelligence, right? When you're creating a microbial plant, when you have more synthetic feeding, you're just bypassing the plant's intelligence. You're just putting it directly into the roots. But yeah, will you hit that with mycorrhizal fungi, Darren, when you transplant it from that point in the clone spot? Will you put some powder, like mycorrhizal fungi powder, on that when you transplant it?
No, I got
Cool. We'll have to.
I used 16 liters of number 4 mix with the microize in it, and then I used another 16 liters of the happy soil with the frog on the bag. I did that. That's the potting soil that's pre-mixed and all that kind of stuff. And then there's also a mix that my buddy makes. His name's John at Grow King here in Prince George. He makes a mix.
That's cool.
A personal bag mix that is just like, you basically put that bag in. You don't need nutrients.
And just water.
And you just water, right? And then I put another 8 liters of that in on top, and so I did those soils, and then I put my plants in there. I clone them, and then I put them in a red cup. I let them get the carrot down. I root out, then I plant them again, so it keeps getting a really nice root mass, and it stays reaching and growing and searching and that sort of stuff in the roots. And then the last one is a nice big fucking, I think it's 3 gallon or 7 gallons. Oh, they're big pots anyways.
Probably 7 gallon. And then I think what they were touching on too, I think they're probably 7 gallons if they're big ones. And then what they were touching on too is hitting each time you transplant, and just right with the seeds and stuff, hitting them with the mycorrhizal powder, just as like a little supplement to help the roots and the rhizome just form in a lovely symbiotic way.
Very good.
And they've got some amazing products for that I'm sure we can work out for you, that you'll have to start using for you. Nothing so far.
We'll
They're
send
great.
you
Okay,
guys.
so
We'll send you some.
Dragonfly has some too, but this is actually what I bought. I was cheap and I went online, and this is what I ordered.
I would love to get some.
We'll
of
send
The
you some.
giant pumpkin. I
We'll send you
just
some, Darren.
went, like, I bought some. So, but they have amazing products.
Send you
as
guys
well.
some.
As well as their cocoa, by the way. Red River Tom is in chat, and he's been loving your cocoa. He loves your cocoa. He has it like every day, and he's So I had to show that out. So
Makes you feel good for
there you
sure.
go. Yeah, love it. Beautiful.
You guys.
Very cool.
There you go.
I've got your
We'll
guys'
send you
number.
guys.
I'll text you my address, and maybe I'll
We just want
Do it.
address.
we were supposed to send you seeds.
You guys.
We're gonna send you seeds too.
We were supposed to send you seeds. We suck at following through on shipping.
Hey,
Stop.
life is life.
There you go, Darren.
We really do. We're not good at it. Our business in our warehouse is amazing at it.
Try again, Josh and Kelly. We lost you.
Okay, I think
I
we're
don't,
back.
we weren't really, we were just saying that we were supposed to get Darren seeds a while ago for his garden. And our business is really good at shipping out stuff. Like our warehouse is very timely and our crew is really amazing.
Very true.
But me as Josh as individuals are horrible at that. So we will get out a package to you guys for sure.
I'm texting you my address right now, you guys.
Sweet, we got it. We got it.
That's
Thanks,
so funny
man.
because I'm the same way, you guys. Josh and Kelly, I have seeds that I have to send out because I did give away some seeds on the show. And we are going to be giving some seeds away on our next show. So y'all keep that bell rang because we are going to do it live on the show next time we tune in live. We're going to be live for another 15 minutes. So y'all stay tuned because this has been an amazing conversation, you guys. Thanks for being here today and spending your time with us. I really appreciate it. Darren and Dragonfly and Eric also appreciate you. And Drake, as always, my co-host, you always support me and I appreciate it. Thank you.
We all appreciate you, Tara. And we've got a question in from chat that came in a while ago, but we've just been ripping through and I didn't want to jump in inappropriately, but it was just in regards to labs and if that can help someone that is now lactose intolerant. Can that, I imagine they're meaning it help them get over those symptoms a little bit.
Well, lactic acid bacteria is often made from milk if you do it at home. But
yeah, you can make lab from lots of different things that are actually not milk. If you wanted to make, get yogurt, I'm sorry, if you wanted to get coconut milk or coconut cream, you can blend that and you could put in all of the same ingredients, recipe, everything, just replace the coconut milk for the actual milk and you can grow a lab off of that. And that's a really wonderful alternative for somebody. Then you're getting the lactic acid bacteria that's specific to the coconut, which might be better and helpful for somebody. And also, Drake, I am understanding your question, that the person's question is, if you have from milk, lactic acid bacteria cultures from milk, will it help them get over their lactose intolerance issues? Well, lactose intolerance really is just it's symptomatic. Everything that any malady or somebody is feeling, by the time you feel it, just like by the time you see, like say a mildew spot on your plant, or you see part of your plant starting to die, or you see a curly leaf, all of these things are symptoms of deep-seated issues that we have that are always related to our microbiome as a whole. So if somebody is lactose intolerant, it was because they probably didn't receive proper microbiology from the very beginning of time in their life, or maybe they weren't even breastfed, which is, incredibly important, or maybe they weren't born naturally. There's so many different stages of where we get our microbiome. And unfortunately, our world is very toxed out, which is reducing, and pharmaceuticals all reduce our microbiome. So continuously building your microbiome in any way that you possibly can is great. If you can add some lactose that's natural to help you get over some lactose issues, great. If not, then go with some coconut milk.
Or do a master cleanse.
I'm trying to go fast. It was really wordy.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. I believe that was Dab PIY that asked the question. I'm sure he just got his answer and then some. So appreciate it. Go ahead, Josh.
People dehydrate yogurt in dehydrators and then make like yogurt leathers for hiking. Just saying, that's a really cool thing to do because Darren was talking about, canning
Really?
different things.
No way.
Yeah,
Wait.
you can dehydrate yogurt. So, anyway.
So, hey, now Eric just gave us a hack the other day how we can DIY a freeze dryer for home use.
I can talk about that briefly if you'd like.
Sure, let's do it.
Right on. So I haven't done this personally, but from my understanding of how the freeze dryers work, if you wanted to use freeze dryer for small personal amounts of food or hash or whatever you want to freeze dry, you could take a vacuum pot. So if you're, familiar with the little stainless steel pots with the plexiglass lids with an O-ring that you put a little hash in, and then another $60 vacuum pump, get the whole setup for well under $200. You've got yourself a vacuum chamber. And then from there, you can either put that inside a deep freezer or freeze your components, whatever you're trying to freeze dry with dry ice. So let's say we're trying to do bubble hash. We'll put the bubble hash in the vacuum chamber. We'll put dry ice on it. And then once the dry ice is evaporated, pull a vacuum. You might have a vacuum pulled the whole time, I'm not sure. And then either way, when you as you slowly go back up to room temperature under vacuum, that's essentially the whole thing of a freeze dryer. I guess the freeze dryers, the Harvest Right ones, they have heated shelves, but from my understanding, that just speeds up the process. It doesn't necessarily make the process. And if you needed to heat it up, I mean, it's in a stainless steel pot, you could heat it up. Shit, I mean, you could actually probably heat it up a lot quicker than an oven full of trays. You could put it in hot water or on a stove or what have you.
So there's the one that Eric had shared with me. Can y'all see that? I'm guessing you can see that, right?
Yep.
Okay. So there's some ideas for y'all. I just wanted to share that because my friends are all getting freeze dryers, and like that's an amazing way to make hash, because you all know I love to smoke amazing hash, and the only way to make this amazing hash nowadays is to have these amazing freeze dryers and all this equipment. And I'm not a big scale manufacturer. I'm making it for me, small little grower, hobby grower. We are experimenting right now. We really don't know if we want a freeze dryer. Maybe I want to still keep it in my pizza boxes. Maybe that's not something what I want to do with the plants I want to do. So investing in like a $3,000 or a $5,000 unit is quite a bit of money for me as a hobby small grower. So I really think like these little options that Eric brings up and these little things, we need to bring them out and let everybody be aware of them, whether you want to do a redneck little way of that or whether you want to invest in it. At least you have the option, and now you have the information and it's available for you. So there you go.
How about this too though, Tara? That guy that you had on with the big beard, what's his?
Oh, Heavy Icer X.
X.
Yeah. He's awesome.
He doesn't have a freeze dryer, does he? He doesn't use that, does he?
Nope.
Or a washing machine.
You look at what he's growing. You look at what he's washing. He does it once a year, and he literally has to buy a fridge for his personal stash of his hash. Now you look at that stuff. He don't need a freeze dryer. I wonder what the difference would be if he did use a freeze dryer, I guess, on that experimental part, because what he makes out of his bubble hash is fucking amazing looking. And we know that shit's fire.
Oh yeah. Look at that. Like, that every time I look at his page, my mouth just waters. I just
that is just plain outright old school washing, pizza box, fucking curing, wicking, all of that stuff. So don't let we all don't need to have these things. The things these are wants that we want. And I honestly want one too, but I want a freeze dryer mainly to freeze dry all my strawberries, all my raspberries. I want to do powdered eggs. Like I want to freeze dry eggs. Green peppers, onions, have little jars of that. You add some water to it, hot water. You mix your fucking omelets in a jar. Like you can do so much stuff with the freeze dryer. It's not just about hash, but I love the concept. Trust me, I love the concept of preserving more, and I love the way of old school. I'm a 50-year-old dude, man. I love old school ways. I am old school. I represent it. So to have a freeze dryer would be awesome. But if I get an extra $5,000 that I don't want to dump into my 67 Chevy and wrench on that while I'm on lockdown, or save it towards my trip across Canada on my motorbike once the COVID lifts, or, so many other things, I do want one, but it's not on my top list. And you don't need one. Everybody doesn't need one.
Prices will probably really come down too, but I do want the food one too.
And I think that's why I think that's why you want a home freeze dryer instead of the pharmaceutical freeze dryer, from what I understand. So, and everyone probably already knows that, but because you can do both hash and food. But for when you get the new freeze dryer, you have to get like the old programming or something because they updated, so that comes really easy from the manufacturer. So, you can do hash with one like programming, and then you can do food with the other programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And you can get pharmaceutical tray insert still for the home unit, so you can have 8 trays in there.
And it just has to do with that it will override the current system, which doesn't allow the temperature to drop low enough for hash. So by putting in the new software, which is sent you via email, and you can just, load it right into the software on the system, then it's sort of cool. It allows you to do food and also hash.
Nice.
So anyone who's buying a new freeze dryer, make sure to ask for that software.
And I hear they're a lot better to work with as well. Anybody that has heard any bad information about that, I hear that that's changed. So I just wanted to put a little bit more better information out there. Apparently they weren't really set up to deal with hash people. It was kind of a big misconception. And now they're full on behind the hash community, and they've been really helpful from what I understand. So I just want to let everybody know that with the harvest rights. So I think that's
I'm
pretty
pretty
much
sure
what
Drake gave us
got,
the
right?
original heads up on that. I think Drake or something, you gave us the original heads up on that programming thing.
Yeah, because we had heard it from everybody online.
We contacted them.
That was from you. So you were spreading the knowledge to us.
They were to the point where they're like, the pharmaceutical one has been created for hash. So they're totally behind hash now. And like you said, which is cool because Utah went medical now. So it's cool. You know what I mean? Mormons can grow weed. It's all good.
Which is great. It's important. It should be, and it's a plant. It should be involved in all religions and all different areas and all different socioeconomics and all different cultures and nations. So silly. We need to, bring it out. Hey, by the way,
I have my
really
Congo
cool
hair, by the way. My Congo.
Yeah.
So these are going to be top soon, and I did plan on with that, and I used recycled Kleenex boxes, y'all. So that
I love
was my
it.
little.
Oh, hey, you can top by the moon too. You can, but you're pruning, pruning by the moon.
Okay, so do I want to do that on water too?
There's pruning for beneficial. There's pruning. We'll do it later, but there's pruning for beneficial growth, and then there's pruning to have it like not grow.
Where you don't want it to grow.
And there's different moons to that.
Very cool. Okay, so we got to learn this new moon cycle. I love it.
Can't wait to have you back.
Yeah. Well, you guys, last 5 minutes. Any final thoughts to close this down? I'll let Josh and Kelly have a word, and then I'll turn the circle around. So go ahead, Josh, Kelly, last 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Well, number one is just acknowledging your crew and, the people that are on right now, and Darren, all the work that you do in life, is a real inspiration. And the words that you have to say and the examples that you use are, respectable. And we really appreciate that from you and Darren, and Drake. And it's wonderful meeting you, Eric, and hearing about the work that you're doing and, working with, farms to put out something that's non-toxic and super like high grade and good for the community through products is really what we're all trying to do is, create that sacred commerce and sacred, connection between each other where we're creating things that are a positive impact. And my last thought is like, let's try and make our actions be a positive impact,
And I wanted to say one really quick thing is that we've been talking a lot about the isolationist theory. We'd love to come on next time and talk with you guys about that, like what we've been thinking and really challenging everybody out there listening that when we isolate things, all things in our lives, it really brings malady and sickness. And how we really need to bring in holistic thought processes, holistic healing, holistic everything, because that's what nature just continues to show us. So, you know, a lot of science is isolating things. So there's just a little mind drop for you to just think about how we as humans try to explain the great, wonderful mysteries of the unknown of life and death and creation, and why we're here, and all these mysteries through isolating things. And I think if we could start bringing in more holistic scientific research and holistic thought processes, then we would have more health and well-being. Thank you all for today. Tarly, I love you so much. You continue to bring just love and light to people. And that's what we were talking about, is the first thing is happiness. So thank you so much for continually shedding us.
And
You are so meaningful to me.
I so wish I heard all that.
But we still felt the love. We still felt the love.
Sorry guys, that darn internet in Canada. I hope everybody's here with us still. Are you guys there?
I'm here.
Go ahead.
So
you cut out.
What I said was, you know, as the first line of modus operandi for all of us to find our center, it was happiness. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, in deep wells of sisterly love for you, for your creation of continually spreading happiness to people who need it, realness. You have been here for so many people. I know as much as you are online, you are offline guiding and helping people and answering questions. And I just have so much love for the gift that you give of yourself. So thank you so much for putting this together and who you are. I love you so much, sister.
You're gonna make me cry, girl. But thank you. Oh my God, that was so heartfelt. Thank you so much. I love you guys. I'm so wish that border wasn't closed right now. And Darren, yes, you are an awesome man here. Thank you for sharing your time with us. You're always, you know, the guy that taught us dry sift, you know, you're the hash guy. Like seriously, that's what I made first was the dry sift. So it's amazing having you here with us, and that you and Dragonfly already know one another and we've connected. So any final words with us, Darren?
Be good to each other. It's Christmas. We all can't be together. A lot of us can't be together, families and stuff. And trust me, I feel it too. I got a gang of grandkids, literally. And I ain't seen any of them. It breaks my heart, but I'm okay. If you need to fucking have a cry about it, have a cry about it and carry on. Make some fucking soup and a sandwich and get your shit done. But it's just a time of the way it is, man. Be good to yourself, be nice to everybody else, and Merry fucking Christmas, everyone. That's what I say.
That was awesome. Eric, any final
Darren,
words?
did the internet go out before you did get to hear what I was saying about how awesome you were, right?
We heard all of it.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Because I never know. I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you. I love the.
All right, good. That's important. Eric or Drake.
I would have made sure of that too, Josh. I would have made sure Darren heard all that.
Okay, good. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, just
I heard it and I just absorbed it right up. You bet. I love it. Thank you.
Go ahead, Eric.
Just thank you for having me, Tara. Nice meeting you guys, Dragonfly, and talking with everybody else. If anybody did want to check out our terpenes, they're available on our website, fatdogcbd.com. But yeah, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Eric. And Drake, any final closing thoughts today? We don't know when the next show is. We haven't actually scheduled it because I looked, and yes, next weekend is Christmas weekend. So I don't know if we're going to do a next show next weekend or not. If we do, it's going to be a big one because I think there's some really big guests that have been dying to come on. And with this COVID thing, it might just be a normal Saturday, Sunday, and we might do a show. So I'm just going to throw that out there. It's going to be a big one. Drake, go ahead. Closing thoughts.
I'm just very excited for the next one, and I'm super grateful for everyone for tuning in, and let us know what you think. Please like and share for Tara, subscribe, hit the bell and all that fun stuff, and make sure to check out everyone on the panel. We are now not allowed to share links in the YouTube chat. I can't even chat with you guys, so sorry. Hey, really appreciate you being there, but I can't even say hello, so vocally, hello and goodbye.
Yeah, poor Drake hasn't been able to chat all day in chat. I don't know what's going on. YouTube's changed some stuff, and yeah. You got the boot, Drake. But anyways, at least you could join us here on Zoom. We love you all. Peace and love and healthiness. We'll see you next